park. I cannot wait to eat this up. I'm going to own the show. I'm so excited. This is the character I wanted to play, a darker, sort of conflicted loner, which Paul is in a lot of ways. I mean, he's, there's similarities between him and Hilo, but he's very different. He's a very self-righteous guy, Paul Ballard. But once we started it, you guys all, for those Dollhouse fans who know, we had to reshoot the pilots. Joss had a very specific vision, and if you see the original pilot that he did, it's very dark and noir, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece, man. I really liked it. But then we chopped it up, and then we spread it out over 4 episodes and reshot the pilot, and it was just, we were struggling in the beginning, man, and it didn't know where it was going, and I wasn't getting any feedback. And I came from such a set that was so like, when you nailed a scene, people told you. You didn't need that, but there was that communication. You felt it. And we didn't have a lot of communication in Dollhouse in the beginning because everyone was so worried about the show going to shit. And I think Joss was dealing with the network every single day. So I was very confused, and it was a very humbling experience in the beginning of that show because I went in with so much confidence, and then I was very confused for episodes and episodes. I couldn't find them for a while. Like as Eddie said before, I mean, it takes you a while to find your character's music. I went in there thinking I knew his music. I had AC/DC rocking in my head, man, but there was like some sort of weird Mozart playing in my head. I was confused, like it took a while. Thanks.
This side. Hello. Well, the first thing is a comment to Mr. Amos. Thank you, sir, for receiving my letter, and I feel like the luckiest man in the world. And the second is a question for Ms. McDonald. I want to know which character do you think was tougher to play, President Rosalind or Captain Rader?
I think that President Rosalind, because we can look back on it now and I know what the whole process was more demanding than I've experienced yet with Captain Rader. But I will say, I kind of think that Laura Rosalind prepared me for Captain Rader because there is something about her isolation and her focus and her agenda that I'm not sure I could have stood in completely on my own had I not had Laura Rosalind first. And now that we're learning more about her and she's evolving and I'm starting to see the complexity of that situation, I think I'd probably best answer that in about 4 years. Hopefully we'll be going with Major Crimes, so thank you.
This side.
Hi, question for Mr. Ramos. After directing several episodes of Battlestar Galactica, you directed the final feature of the plan. Was directing the plan any more challenging than directing an episode?
Repeat the question one more time. Get closer to the mic, please.
Sorry. After directing several episodes of Battlestar, you directed the final feature of the plan. I was just wondering if directing the plan was any more challenging than directing a basic episode?
Yes and no. The construct of the plan was very difficult. It was a story that Jane and I were trying desperately hard to understand. It was an idea that wasn't Jane's, but she ended up having to write it. So she kind of like went into it and did a very good job, but it took a long time. It was very difficult, and I have to take my hat off to Dean Stockwell, who did a brilliant job on that and should have been nominated for an Emmy and won it. His 2 characters were so defined, and you have to see the piece about 3 or 4 times before you really understand what his work was in the piece. I can tell you that the plan, I think for those of us that got to see it after watching and experiencing the whole Battlestar, all the seasons of it, really found it to be very exciting because it was what the plan was. So I think people enjoyed it. I enjoyed directing it. I had a wonderful time with it. It was difficult on one level. Everybody celebrated the end of the show when the last shot was done in the regular series. But we were still working So it became a little bit, you know, like we never got the finale that the rest of the crew got. They got a chance to really explore and understand that moment to the fullest. There was about 400 people on the set. Were you there? You weren't there that night.
I was long gone.
Yep. And I was not on the set. You know, I was not one of the 400 that got to rejoice and say thank you very much. It was a great run. And then when we finished ours, there was nobody there. Nobody was left. And so it was just myself and Dean and Tricia working towards the end. And I could tell you that I loved the fact that they allowed me to do that. I was so honored that they allowed me to direct as many pieces of work that they allowed me to direct at this period of time. When they asked me to do the plan, I was very, very humbled and very grateful that I was given that opportunity. Hope you guys liked it.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you guys a little bit about what it's like to be directed by Eddie. Truly, I'm not sure if we've spoken about it a lot on these panels, but I have been, never missed it. I have been obviously in the business for a long time and worked with some astonishingly good directors. I've had really good luck, and they all teach you something. When we worked with Eddie on the first episode he directed, I was not surprised because I had already seen his artistry and his phenomenal generosity of spirit. But I was still swept away by his ability to allow the actor to simply create from that which they think is right and true. He never says no, and it inspires a kind of confidence on a set that is a rare, rare gift, and we just hope he keeps directing more and more and more.
Richard, you've been working in television for several decades. How has it changed I didn't say how many. How has it changed for good, and how has it changed for bad? The things you've seen since you've been working.
Wow, that's a really good question. Well, for me, television, unlike movies, okay, I think movies have gotten worse. With all the technological advancements, I think the stories have gotten thinner, more repetitive, redundant. Every once in a while, there's a great movie. But television, that's where all the great writing has gone. And I think the stories have gotten deeper and richer and more provocative, more edgy, more substance, the characters. That's why you have so many wonderful actors coming to television to portray really amazingly complex, wonderful types of characters. And you know, you can see it every day. I mean, look at all these wonderful series that are on Showtime and home box office, and I mean, they keep coming up with some brilliant series. I don't know about you, I have trouble watching network anymore. I really do. I mean, I go over to home box office and Showtime and everywhere else because I'm bored most of the time. I'm looking for something unique, different, out of the box, something that has to say, and this is important. You know, for a while, we got into a business where you almost had to apologize if your script, your story had something to say about the world. Somehow it was not politically correct to do that. And yet for me, art has always been about mirroring life, mirroring the world, showing insights into the human condition, who we are, where we've come from. And I just think thank God for cable, because cable honestly has opened up the door for amazing writers to find a palette, to find a place where they can bring all of their rich talents and abilities and really develop these amazing stories, and then get the best actors in the business to come portray these characters. So, you know, I think it's gotten much better.